Greetings to my fellow learning and education practitioners and enthusiasts. My name is Willem Maritz. You can always call me Willy as well, if you promise to pronounce it with a V and not a W. I'm a learning nerd. I've been an entrepreneur in learning and education for over 20 years now. I built a few businesses and sold some successfully. And a few years ago, I started No More Courses. Yes, you heard that right. The concept of the course, I believe, is flawed. It's a construct that evolved over a period of time through a set of compromises. And let me explain. I think most of us will agree that the best way to learn is one-on-one, directly from an expert that we admire or somebody who has a high degree of credibility. That's the way we've always learned as human beings. The father who's a carpenter teaching his son doing woodwork. The mother teaching the daughter how to bake and cook. Fortunately, in today's society, we have fathers teaching their daughters how to fix cars and mothers teaching their sons how to cook. The first examples of formal or academic education were actually those from the Greek philosophers. The Greek philosophers would get a person or a youngster who would literally sit at their feet and they would teach that youngster. This became very popular, especially for rich families. Rich families would actually pay these philosophers to actually send their kids and to be taught by these wise philosophers. So the demand grew, and that's where the first compromise in learning came. So the first compromise was we don't learn anymore one-to-one, but now the philosopher had to teach more than one, up to 10 young boys sitting at his feet. Socrates was one of these famous philosophers, and everybody wanted to send their kids to be taught by Socrates. One of these kids was a guy called Plato. And Plato was a very bright student, so what happened was Plato was taking copious notes, and before you know it, Plato became a teacher as well, teaching Socrates' teachings. That was the second compromise in the evolution of the course. So now we are not even learning directly from the original philosopher or the original expert, but we are now learning from a second-hand source of information. Compromise number 2. These teachers had to deal with some practicalities that today's teachers and educators have to deal with as well. Firstly, they have to cope with a number of people in the class, which meant that every student has to learn at the same pace as the next student. That's compromise number 3. The next reality is that they all have to learn the same content, regardless of their context or where they want to apply the learning. That's compromise number 4. And the fifth compromise, which is not even all of them, is that they all had to learn a bunch of content just in case. Whether they will learn it or whether they will be able to use it in the future or not, they had to learn and memorize a lot of stuff that they didn't even know whether they would be able to use it or not. So that's only 5 compromises that I can think of right now that contributed to the evolution of the concept of the course as we know it. This concept of a course, this thing where we all learn the same thing, we all learn at the same pace, we don't necessarily learn directly from an expert. All of these compromises actually we don't have to accept anymore. We can rethink learning because of the gift of technology. We can now start from scratch. Instead of just using technology to keep on evolving the concept of a course, inheriting the compromises that we've made, we can abolish it completely and restart and rethink. Let's look at the science of how people really learn and rebuild learning and education accordingly. That's why I started No More Courses. That's also the purpose of this YouTube channel. So if you're interested to learn together with me and to iterate and innovate together with me, hit the subscribe button, follow me, send me comments, send me your thoughts, and let's rebuild the world of learning and education together.